Hi, thank you for tuning in. If you do not know me, my name is Haya. I'm a Lebanese American student who moved from Lebanon to the United States, and I currently live in Texas. Today's topic is about the psychological impact of moving countries. Very straight to the point. So let's get into it. I wanted to talk about this topic because it's something that I've personally experienced, and I'm sure a lot of those who decided to watch this video have also experienced it. So I wanted to share my personal view and what some of the things that I've been through. I won't get into a lot of personal details, but I will use it as a reference. The first thing I wanted to point out is that moving countries is not just a physical emotion. It's not like, oh, I packed my bags, I'm moving, and that's it. It it's also a very emotional and psychological journey. If you are someone who moved to a new country or a new city recently, then I think you will enjoy today's topic. So let's dive into it. The first topic that I wanted to talk about is homesick, which is the number one emotion and feeling that hits you after you realize that you're in a new country. Missing home is normal, but it does eventually feel overwhelming to adapt to a new environment. Maybe it's a country that doesn't speak your language, that doesn't share your religion, that doesn't share your culture or your values. And so it can take a toll on you psychologically. And the first thing that I want to say I noticed when I moved is the things that I used to take for granted. It's really the small things that mattered. For example, in the place where I grew up in, it was very normal for everyone to go places walking. So like if you wanted to go to the grocery store, you'd walk to the grocery store, or you'd walk to the pharmacy, or you'd walk to your friend's house, or to the gym, or to your practice, whatever, to school. And so I really just thought that, dang, I wish I had a car, I can drive there, or, oh, like, this is too far, I'm gonna have to take a cab, if only I had a car, etc. But it's not only about walking, it's about what comes with the walking. Other than it's good for your health and it's a very good cardiovascular activity, etc. But it's also about the journey that you take on the walk. For example, you would pass by the same supermarket and you know the guy, and you'll pass by and you'll be like, oh, hey, how are you, sir? You continue walking, and then a few minutes later, you'll find a friend or a family member that's also walking, and you'll stop and you'll say hi and catch up on things and etc. So, those things that happen on the walk, like, I did care for them deeply because I mean, that's how you maintain, those connections that you build with strangers, especially, and like passing by people and smiling, like, that's a big thing. That's something that I do not get to experience here. I know there are states, well, if you are in the US, there are states that walking is very common, but very, it's not very common in my state. And so, even if I feel like even if you are in a state that it is common to walk, a lot of people are not that friendly here. And it could be scary. Not that I wasn't scared when I was walking, but it kind of felt safer because I knew the people, it's the same people that I see every day. It's the same people that I probably buy my groceries from, or the same person that I always buy my coffee, like he's always there or she's always there. So it kind of like felt easier, more comfortable. But here, like, it's not very common. Like, you don't really get to walk everywhere. Or if you were to walk to the same place, it's not like you're gonna meet the same people. Or chances of you meeting someone you know on the street is very, very minimal here. And so this is one thing I personally experienced that allowed me to miss home even more. And I don't know if you guys experience the same thing, but definitely let me know if this is just me or someone else feels the same way. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is identity crisis or imposter syndrome. I know, it's a very common topic right now, and a lot of people are talking about it. But as someone who was born in the US but grew up in Lebanon and moved to the US when I moved to college, I was thinking about myself like, am I American? Am I Lebanese? Like, am I more comfortable speaking Arabic? Am I more comfortable speaking English? Who am I? What am I? Where am I? When I was in Lebanon, although I never lived in the US, I always thought of myself as an American. And so I always felt like I did not fit in. And when I moved to the US, I definitely did not fit in because our culture and values and everything was totally different. And so I was beginning to question myself. And I'm laughing now. It was not funny. Um, but I feel like since I grew up in Lebanon, I speak Arabic very fluently, thankfully. But when I moved to the US, I felt like I couldn't express myself right. And there are so many words, like, you can't define it by the literal meaning. Like, if it's like an expression or something that I would say in Arabic, I can't really translate it to English, and vice versa, honestly. So I felt like there's always something missing about me. Like, if I were to crack a joke, my Lebanese friends would definitely laugh, but my American friends don't get it. Well, see, we've all been there. And I'm sure, like, I'm only here to discuss relatable topics. So please, if you do not relate, let me know. But I feel like this is something a lot of people pass through, or like a lot of people go through. And after moving and learning how to adapt to a new country who speaks a different language, I felt like I needed to balance both of my identities. It's not like, oh, I'm only American, period. Oh, I'm only like Asian, let's say, period. It's really all about balancing. I don't have to give up one identity to be another or the other way around. It's okay to be both. So when I'm with my Arabic speaking friends, I can speak Arabic. When I'm with my English speaking friends, I can speak English. And so if French was your first language, let's say, or whatever it is, Cantonese, whatever, and if you were to be with your American friends, you don't have to feel left out because you're not American. You can fit in by balancing yourself. And sometimes it's those things that make you stand out. The thought that you are like, oh, bilingual, like, don't be ashamed of that, or don't feel like you have to pick this or that or choose this or that. You can be both, and it's okay. You just have to embrace it and know how to balance it so that it doesn't tire you. It doesn't make you feel like, oh, you have to put in the effort and you have to act and be someone you're not. Nah, try to be both. It's not like put pressure on yourself to be, two identities, but also know how to cooperate them both together, know how to use that to your benefit. I want to point out that as you're learning new culture, don't lose yourself. Make sure that there's always you in this new culture. For example, if you are an artist, if you are someone who draws and I tell you to draw a dress, well, you're someone who doesn't draw clothes, you're comfortable drawing portraits. Okay, well, use this creative brain that you have by drawing portraits, turn it into a dress. Don't just draw a dress because I asked you to. Use your portrait creative side to come up with a dress in your own way. Just make sure that you do not lose who you are during the process. Third point that I wanted to talk about is coping strategies and positive outcomes. The first tip I can give you is find your community. And by that I mean, I moved to the US, I don't want to, socialize with American people, that's it, period. No, that's not what I mean. But find people that you are comfortable with, because when you move to a new country and a new place, it gets lonely and it gets so, what's the right word to say it? It gets so stressful. Stressful, that's the word. Stressful. It gets so stressful. So try to find a community that shares your values or thinks like you, or you share the same interests with. And if you cannot find a community that you can relate to, create one. I'm sure you're one of a kind, But I'm sure there are many other people who can relate to what you like or is passionate about the same things that you're passionate about. Let's say, for example, you're someone who loves to read books and you go online, you go on social media and be like, oh, book clubs. Well, you find this book club and they only read fiction and you do not like fiction. It doesn't interest you. It's not your passion. So you want someone who reads like autobiographies, Instead of, well, since you couldn't find this community that likes to read autobiographies, well, create one. I mean, I'm sure there are people who loves to talk about autobiographies and will love to discuss that with you. So if you cannot find a community where you feel like you belong, make sure you create a community that you are comfortable with, because it's very important to be comfortable in that new place that you're supposed to call home. There are so many ways to create a new community or join a community. You can use Instagram, you can use Facebook. I'm sure there are like local neighborhood groups that you can join. That's personally what I did when I first moved to Texas. I knew that there is a large Arab community, and so I went on Instagram and wrote, I literally typed Arabs search. And so I found a group that's Arab, that's an Arab group, and that's local to me, and I joined, and I knew no one, absolutely no one, and it was something that I would have never thought I would do, going out of my bubble that way. But I had to build the courage because I did not want to lose myself and to be depressed or any of that stuff that we don't want to get into in this episode. So I joined this community, and from this community I was able to find people who I can relate to, and so we formed our own group, and now I have friends, which is something that I did not experience when I first moved to the US. So definitely do that for yourself. You might not think it's important. You might think like, oh, I can survive by myself. No. If you can survive by yourself, God would not have created us in communities, in neighborhoods. As I said earlier, and I want to stress this again, learn to embrace your dual identity. So only because you are someone who is Chinese, let's say, don't think that you should only socialize with Chinese people. Sure, definitely. Join the group that makes you feel comfortable, that's, fits in your bubble, but don't stop there. Like, you should go out and meet people of other cultures, people of other religions, or people that speak a different language. Try to learn something new. Definitely do that, but also don't forget your identity. And so you could have the group that you're comfortable with, that you can speak your language with, but then there's another group that brings the creative aspect of your side. And so learn how to balance these two so that you could fit in this new country. So this is what I do. I try to get the best of both worlds. So let's say, as a Lebanese person, we're known for our food, duh, and that we speak Arabic, duh. It's an exotic language. And so when I go out with my non-Arabic speaking friends, I'd be like, oh yeah, I speak two languages, I speak Arabic. And so I've learned to make this stand out instead of putting me down, instead of being like different in a bad way. It's actually, you're different in a good way. So learn how to embrace that. And this ends our episode, and I wanted to conclude this video by saying that moving countries is not easy. It is not an easy journey, but definitely a journey that you should use for your advantage to grow. Do not let the language barrier stop you from doing the things you want to do, or culture barriers, or if you don't drive, well, you can call an Uber, you can take the bus, you can take the metro. Don't make excuses. Learn to discover yourself in this new place. I actually made this YouTube channel to reach out to others and to tell others, which is you, to tell you that you are not alone, and we've been through this. A lot of people have been through this journey where you might feel lost in this new place, but eventually it gets better. Yes, very cliche, whatever. It does get better. It does get better. I never thought I would start a YouTube channel or I would speak English this good. I mean, in my opinion, it's this good. But I used to get so flustered, and I used to second guess myself, and I used to speak so slow, and I would say Arabic words within one sentence, and I would just not socialize because I thought this, like, oh, no one's gonna understand what I'm saying. Everyone's gonna make fun of me. Maybe people still do. But I'm not gonna use it to discourage me. I'm actually gonna use it. And I am actually the perfect example for someone who is having self doubts, because I am someone who never ordered food on the phone because I was so shy and nervous to ask to give my order. I was someone who would never go make a return because, I don't know, what if the cashier thought like I used this item? I'm someone who let a lot of opportunities win over me because I was very shy to understand who I am. And this is a very sensitive topic because it doesn't allow you to grow and discover yourself. And so take it from someone who's been there and don't let it put you down. If you are someone who has experienced any of the things that I experienced, or you've experienced anything else, or you want to hear about anything else on this YouTube channel, definitely put it in the comments, reach out to me. I'm also on Instagram, and so I would love to connect with you and hopefully build this community where we can all, hug and come closer. Let me know how you've coped with the change that you are going through, and it could help me, it could help anyone else reading these comments. And definitely, if you liked this episode, hit the like button and subscribe. I don't know why I'm asking you to do this, you don't even know me, but we will get to know each other, okay? And please remember to always be kind. I'll see you next time. Bye! If you are still watching, thank you. This is a disclaimer. I am not a therapist. I am not someone with a psychology degree. I'm just speaking based off experience and research. All right, bye.